Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. I'm Nathan Hager, joined by Bloomberg's Kriti Gupta. Kriti, we got to start off with the banks. We got Bank of America earnings this morning. They dropped at the initial rollout. Now, Bank of America is in the green. Good morning.
Good morning, Nathan. A complete turnaround story in just a few minutes. BAC is your ticker for Bank of America. And as you said, it is flying this morning, higher by 2.4% in the pre-market and climbing as I speak. Higher, trading at about, we should call it $47 and change. The ticker BAC, as I mentioned. But I mean, these intraday charts, which work beautifully on radio, really tell the story, which is that this kind of spike higher that you've seen is now reflected in every financial stock that is trading this morning. And remember, we are still waiting for some of the other bank earnings to cross the wire as well this morning. But the big takeaway, and I have my cheat sheet up for our very own Wall Street correspondent, Sonali Basak, basically saying that it's their net interest income guidance that is stable. And that's going to be really, really crucial in terms of what we see there. Remember, Brian Moynihan has also been very, very positive when it comes to the U.S. economy. So keep an eye on Bank of America. BAC is the ticker. Looking forward, of course, to seeing what the commentary looks like around that stock. In the meantime, a couple of others I want to put on your radar as well, Nathan. One of them is specifically ASML. And this is, of course, a European company, one of the major kind of chip equipment makers, but is listed when it comes to the U.S. market. And that's going to be a crucial one. It is one of the biggest droppers in biggest weights. Biggest droppers, I'm going to go ahead and call it.
Do it.
When it comes to the European market. So ASML, we're going to talk about the ADRs there, really taking a beating, down about 7.7% this morning, trading at $759 a share. And the ripple effect across a lot of these chip stocks is crucial. You see that in the likes of Lam Research, for example. LRCX is your ticker, down 2.6%, trading at $98 a share. And still dropping as we speak. It's not just Lam Research. Applied Materials is the other one. AMAT down about 2.6%, trading at $194 a share there. So seeing some real pain when it comes to chip maker stock. The guidance around ASML is really the canary in the coal mine here because it is falling the most since April. And that is crucial. The CEO walking back that growth forecast to complete. Talk about turnaround that you are seeing in the chip sector. And this is, of course, after the fact that we've seen the volatility around whether or not the likes of NVIDIA, AMD, et cetera, can actually export some of the chips from the United States to China. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But speaking of policy out of Washington really impacting a sector, let's talk a little bit about the pharmaceutical sector, Nathan. Okay. I think that is crucial. This morning, Johnson & Johnson is an interesting one. Remember, Donald Trump has talked about pharmaceutical tariffs coming as soon as the end of this month. It's far earlier than a lot of folks expected. He's talking about an earlier start and then ultimately trying to build it up to 200% eventually. But what that does is not shake the pharmaceutical sector very much. And there seems to be an appreciation here that this was largely expected. There is a slow ramp up as opposed to a massive number imposed at the start. Johnson & Johnson, and I think is the key one that you want to keep an eye on here. J&J is your ticker, higher by 1.3% because they actually just reported earnings this morning and they are talking about beating Wall Street's expectations. They raised their full year outlook. Not a lot of pharmaceutical companies are doing that. And they're also saying that the tariff story may not be that scary because there is an appreciation from just how complex the supply chains are. So that's going to be one narrative you want to watch this morning, Nathan.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.